Welcome to our 5th development blog for the Goblin Abyss. I hope you all know by now the Goblin Abyss is an action RPG currently in development for iOS. It's set deep underground in a fantasy world full of goblins and strange creatures with swords, magic and lots of loot. Please remember this game is still early in development and a lot of things will be improved on before the game is released. In this blog I want to show you one of our new improvements in combat. I've been working on combat transition animations to try and make the combat look and feel much more fluid. This is how our combat looked a week ago. Tapped on an enemy, which caused the player to run over and hit it. If he tapped on a different enemy, our player character would turn and hit him instead. This worked fine and it was a lot of fun killing things, but I thought I could improve the animations and make it look more dynamic. I started by creating a test transition animation, combining a turn into the attack. So instead of just making the player face an enemy and then play the attack animation, he would play the attack animation which included a turn towards the enemy. This was the first test in Maya, which I was very happy with. I thought it looked a lot nicer than just popping the player into position. Our basic sword attack animation, as you can see here, swings from right to left and then left to right and loops until the enemy drops dead. So I needed 2 transition animations for each sword swing, 2 to the left and 2 to the right. Once I had this, I could test it in the game. To make testing easier, I created some simple spheres and flagged them as an enemy. This way I could test the new animations without getting killed or killing anything and having to run off and find something else to hit with the sword. As you can see, this seemed to work quite nicely, and I thought it was a lot nicer than the old popping into position. Now I knew it was going to work, so I had to create more animations for different directions and angles and then add all that into the code. It was at this point I realised I didn't know how to get the angle between the player and the enemy. We are using C# in Unity and there is a vector-free angle function, but it doesn't return the direction, just an angle between 0 and 180. After a little googling, I found a solution on Unity Answers, which was to get the dot product between the new enemy position and the right of the character, to see if it was positive or negative. If it was negative, I had to turn him left, or positive, I had to turn him right. Now I knew how to code it, I could finish all the animations. I needed 8 in total, but they all had to be quick so as not to slow down the combat at all. Up until now, all combat popped into position, so I needed very fast transitions so the gameplay wouldn't change at all. Next, back in Unity, I created a ring of spheres to simulate being surrounded by bad guys, so I could test everything out. After a little troubleshooting, this is the end result. I hope you agree that this looks a lot nicer than how most games do it, by simply aiming at the enemy. And this is the end result when attacking real enemies. This is the same fight as at the beginning of this video, but I hope you agree that it's looking a little better now. This game is still early in development and we plan to make a lot of improvements like this in the coming months. Well, that's about it for this blog, but please remember to check back soon for our next one. For more up-to-date information, you can follow us on Twitter at the Goblin Abyss, and we are also in the process of setting up a Tumblr blog to go along with our website, thegoblinabyss.com. Until next time, thanks for watching.